conquering sexual addiction, because it's one of the things I struggled a lot with.
Let's talk about it,
Kidogo. Yeah.
So what was it? What happened?
So for me, the first time I had a sexual encounter was at the age of 6. Yeah, with a house help. So
most men.
Yeah.
Most men, house help hapo ndio mtoto wako anaanzianga.
And that's why house helps should now be mentored. I believe my sister began an organization ya mentor house helps intentionally, because many people don't know our house help is very important for your destiny, the destiny ya mtoi wako. Because if there's a person who interacts with your child, 90% of the time it's a house help. Okay. Meaning personality ya house help, identity ya house help ina impact mtoto wako whether you like it or not. In fact, your house help will determine a lot even in terms of the personality of your child. So a lot of people, this is what they do, because they want to avoid the cost, they go to Western and look for a house help, or they look for a child of their sister who cannot go to school, so that they avoid the cost. But what they don't know is that you're choosing a person of, let's say, a person who lacks quality to take care of a child who you want them to be a high quality child. So you take your child to an international school, but you're paying your house help a salary of 7,000. And you've gotten them from the village in Meru or in Embu or wherever, and you expect them to be able to match up the quality of what this child is actually experiencing in school and in life. Mm-hmm. So you realize after years go, your child builds friendship with this house help. They sit in the kitchen whenever you people are seated in the sitting room. The child learns culture. So mtoi pia anaanza kuwa distant over time. Mtoi pia anaanza venye house help wana behave around you, ndo mtoi pia ana behave around you. So juu ukikuja kwa nyumba as a boss, the house help will run away. So the child also learns to run away from you. The child also learns language. The child learns many things. So the house help we had at that time, her name was Jacinta. So she came, my mother had gotten her from the village. But later on, I came to realize that she was also like into witchcraft and all that. That's one of the reasons she was chased away. But that was not even the main point. Sometimes she would put scenes of different movies. People are kissing. And she was like, do you want me to teach you? So I said, yeah.
Straight up?
Yeah, I would want to learn. So she gives me a stool. And that's the first time now I learned how to kiss. My sister one day came and she saw. And then my sister went to tell my mother, I found, Jacinta kissing Hinn. And Hinn was also kissing Jacinta. So my mother took me to the bedroom and pinched me and did not say anything. And he pinched too. And she said, yeah, if it could happen, tena. And she went. But now already you see curiosity had been aroused. And so over time, the curiosity was being unfolded.
How old was Jacinta?
Like, let's say 26, 27. I was 6 at that time. Yes. So already it opened me to a certain world very early, and it increased curiosity. So by the time I'm getting to the age of 10, 11, I'm already curious about porn. So I begin also watching porn. And now we had also, again, houseboys who used to come, because we had a poetry project. So mzayali getting you say from different places wakam kuangalia. Na sasa hao houseboy tulikuwa tuna get, na wale maboy wanasikiza bongo, wanaamini mazee ukidishi demo ni mnoma. So pia houseboy atachukua pia maid mwingine chini ya maji senye boss wake ametoka. So atawaleta kwa nyumba. And then we are living with about 5 cousins in the house. So sometimes they would compete who is bringing more girls when my dad leaves. So also, because this was the highest level of mentorship that I saw, I also wanted that. So now we would compete. So at a certain point they would ask me, you've never had sex, when you've had unaongea nini atoka hapa. You know, in the life of a boy, 3 people are very important. Number 1 is a big brother. Number 2 is a father. And number 3 is an icon. In the life of a boy, those 3 people are very important. Who a big brother is. So any boy who has been born without a brother, like for me I was the last born and the only boy, you look for a big brother. It could be a cousin, it could be a houseboy, it could be an uncle. And so if that person smokes, there is a higher chance that you might also admire that. Especially if you're not closer with your father, you'll go for a big brother. So like, I learned how to talk to girls from one of my cousins. Ningesikia kiongelesha mademu siku yote. So I saw that indo form. Unaona indo form. Like katia madem, nini. Na, you know, this guy had like 7 girlfriends. So angecall huyu anamuita babe, huyu anamuita sweetheart. Ame copy paste message the same. Anawatumia. Au mademu wanamcall, wanamwambia mazee venye hii message imewatouch. So also I wanted that. Because that was the highest level of success. That's what I admired most. When I went to Form 1, this cousin of mine, he's a good guy. Kuna part zake zenye alikuwa amehack. Yeye ndiye alipeleka form 1, yeye ndiye aliniteach story ya mawatch, perfume, story ya mashati. He had Timberlands. Na hiyo time ni 208. Unajua Timberland ilikuwa kitu kubwa. And then kwa Keja alikuwa na ufa mixer, akona la pia Toshiba, iko na games, akona Euro Truck Simulator. So he's a person I looked up to. So tukienda form 1, wasi wakipigwa advice juu waombe, wapende Mungu, wa work hard. Yali niambia tu, we make sure bana, funky, usitekeshe madem. Get hiyo ndio advice alinipiga. So I went, yes, usitekeshe madem. So in form 1, the orientation I have is very different from other form 1s. Mimi nimeambiwa mazewe kam ukienda funky, jua kuongelesha madem, usiogope mamanzi. Like, and then you know the stories I had also while growing up from my cousins, how they talk to girls, wataenda funky, nini fanyike. So the orientation I had about high school, what excited me was that twende funky, tukatie madem. You get? So nikaenda kama mimi nilikuwa form 1 wa kwanza kwenda funky. So kwenda funky hivi, I remember the advice I was given. That's why it matters who is a big brother or who is a big sister to your child. That's why unafaa kuwa intentional about story ya house help, unafaa kuwa intentional about story ya mabrother zako na makuzo zako. Because many people focus on their children, but they don't know that there are many other factors that influence beyond your children. Because your brother is there, your sister is there, they look up to these people. And if these people also come, there's an energy people come with. Let's say a house help comes who came from a family that had witchcraft and people went through a lot of pain. That house help, let's say, is an orphan. There's something in it to an orphan spirit. Sujika may study an orphan spirit. An orphan spirit are people who either their parents died, they were abandoned in life, or they went through a lot of rejection in childhood and they did not heal. So they carry an energy called an orphan spirit. An orphan spirit is a spirit where people feel abandoned or rejected. You remember in school, let's say people are playing, but kuna mtu amekaa tu kwa kona. Yani haongeleshi wase, ama tuseme hapa kwa job, mko na psych, kuna kitu mmedecide kudu, but kuna mtu mwenye huwa post kitu mnadu, huwa repost kitu mnadu. So jamaa kwa tuko dunia yake.
We have him.
So you realize that's called an orphan spirit. Ama mtu umemcall uko na psych, ni aje buda, anakuambia tu ya yuko sawa. Kila time tu ya kuangi sawa. Energy zake ziko low. So ukimcall itabidi energy yako irudi chini ndio muaccommodate. There are many women who are married to men who have an orphan spirit. There are many men who are married to women who have an orphan spirit. And it also goes to their children. Then it goes to a family. That's when you go to certain houses, they don't even have pieces of art in the house. They don't even have fruits. They don't have snacks. Because anywhere where there's an orphan spirit, there is lack of joy. So watu wananga psych. So utarealize kunanga vitu zenye zina simplify furaha. Utapata wajaipiga picha as a family. They don't have any photo frame. Utapata tu kuna vitu tu zenye wamechoka. Vyombo ni zile zile, viti ni zile zile, vitambaa ni zile zile. Utarealize yani kuna vitu zenye ni common denominators that will show that in a house there is lack of joy. Because an orphan spirit is an orphan spirit. Now, you can employ someone who is a house help mwenye amebeba you orphan spirit. And that's not something that many people know. People just think we employ mtu mpe job. I was talking to a friend of mine last week. She's an employer. She was telling me that aliemploy wase wakamuibia vitu. Nikamuuliza, did you ever know where these people came from? Like who is their father, who is their mother, where did they grow up, where did they go to school? Sema hakukuwa nayo time, si nilikuwa nawapea job. Nikamshow many employers in Kenya are very careless with their businesses. You take an investment of a business ya 5 million, unapea mse na ujui background yake, na ujui perspective yake ya life. Tuseme saa umepatia career, right? Umpea career camera, na hii mara yake ya kwanza kuguza kamera. Amekwambia tu aliguza kamera Mount Elgon. Amekaa hapo umempea kamera, ameiangusha. Na si fault yake, ni juu ya mindset. Ajui kwa handle equipment. And people don't spend time with the people they have employed to sharpen their mindset. So you have a business worth 15 million, but umepea mtu mwenye ako na mindset yenye iko worth tuso. So it cannot match up the investment. So many people don't realize that their house is a sacred space and you're not just supposed to employ anyone. They bring in a house help. Hawaja take time ku understand story ya mse. Nini mse ali go through. For example, there is a person who I know aliemploy house help mwenye watu kwa familia yake walijinyonga wote. Like in their family there is that nini ya suicide. So later on, wakati mtu alikuwa karibia kujinyonga, ndiye alishare sa story. Yani walimpata kitry ku attempt suicide. But in their family, many people had committed suicide. So imagine such a person commits suicide, maybe ni poison, alafu akufe. And then people say you've murdered this person. You understand? People don't ask. Or you meet a person who, they were sexually abused in their whole childhood. They have gone through so much pain. That's a person carrying your child. Because you know, energies are infectious. You saw a picture where Messi was, alikuwa naosha Yamin, right? energies are infectious, both in terms of good and bad. There is someone, Obinna, if you just greet, yani kusalimiana tu hivi, by just greeting them, whether you know it or you don't, there is what is transferred by touch. You remember in the Bible, Jesus, wakati ule madam alimguza kusema, I've had something leaving me. People don't know that energies are infectious. That's why when you sit around a sad person, kunaweza kuwa na hakuna kitu ya kuwa sad, but you'll be sad. That's why when you go to a funeral, mimi nimeenda funeral yenye nilikuwa kusema ukweli sikuwa ati nimeenda hapo kulilia huyo mtu. Nilikuwa tu nataka kutoka nje ya shule. Like ile yenye basi nataka kutoka. But kwenda kwa hiyo funeral, watu walilia mpaka hadi nikaanza kulia. Nikaanza yani kumbuka, ikabidi nimejiforce kulia, nikumbuke vitu zenye sikuwa nilia about. Or you can go, have you ever laughed because someone is laughing? That mtu aanze kucheka. Smiling. Yes, mtu aanze kucheka na aanze kucheka. Now, if something as basic as laughing can make you laugh, or smile can make you smile, what about the deepest part of energy? That you meet a person who has gone through a lot of pain, a lot of abandonment, and they come with that energy in your space, and you're not conscious to fix it. A time will come, hata wewe itakuwa peni. You remember pia kwa Bible, Jonah akiwa amepanda kwa ship, na hiyo ship ikaanza kusink. It's the same thing. You realize that many people, like vetumekaa tu hapa, every person akona energy yake. Like kama sahi, unaona venye tu Korina amekaa hapo. Sahi tu ifike time Korina atoe tu simu, anze kuscroll. Tukiwa tu hapa kwa live. Alafu mzito mwingine tuseme asimame kwa hii kiti, atoke, aende maji huko chini, arudi. Whether you and I like it or not, it will affect us. Na sahi pia venye tumekaa hivi, vetu Korin, that's why unaona last time nilikuwa naangalia Korin. Juu beyond kuangalia wewe, energy ya Korin pia itamata. Because energy ni infectious. That's why kwa meeting inamata who you go with in a meeting. There are people you can go with in a meeting, uclose deal, na si ati wako intelligent. Uclose to deal juu ya kitu wenye wamebeba. I have a lady, ako hapa chini, anaitwa Wangari. Wangari, she's the one who ananisaidia kwa story ile ya book printing. When you go with Wangari in a meeting, akismile tu, yani akiingia tu kwa hiyo boardroom, whether you like it or not, kama mtu amejam, ataacha kujam. Whether you like it or not, because that's the energy she carries. Atakuja tu aseme, hi guys, how are you? Kama leo kuna msee mwenye alikuwa amenijamia, alikuwa amekaa kwa ofisi mazee amejam. Nikaenda tuna Wangari ya kuongea, yeye alikuwa tu amekaa hapo. After tumeanza kuongea na huyo jamaa, out of her just being present, the more tunaendelea kuongea na huyo jamaa, do you know what happened? At the end of the meeting, tulienda kupiga na huyo jamaa. Huyo jamaa alitupatia more business na alikuwa amejam. Na huyo jamaa akasema, in fact, I would like us to walk a journey with you. Wangari, her job was just to sit there. Now kuna mtu unaweza enda na yeye place, unamko ukiwa shule, ungetoka tu hivi nje na mtu fulani na mnashikwa. Mnashikwa kwa noma. Yes, like mnashikwa. It's because whether you know it or you don't, every person who is watching us right now, there's an energy you carry, whether you know it or you don't. And unless kama ujui, itakukost. Like that thing you said at the start of the show, that there are people who just attract married men only. Yeah. There are people who just attract sad people and they don't know why. There are people who children just get excited kuwacheki. Watoto wanabambika kuwaona. Yani mtoto tu akimwona, watoto wanakuwa excited, watoto wanataka kukaa na huyo msee. Kuna msee mwenye huwa ana attract tu watu wamesota. Even in business, it's the same concept.
Kuna mtu akifungua biashara.
Yes, kuna mtu busy yake, because also businesses carry a certain energy. Kuna reason mbona mtu hajaisikia tu kwenda Radisson Blue. Si ati amemfukuzwa. But what is that tells you singia hapo? Yet Radisson Blue kuna maji ya S3. Si ati hakuna kitu huwezi afford. But also even the way a business is packaged, the way a car looks like, everything in life now carries an energy, but it first starts with a human being. For example, kuna difference ya mimi kushika chupa ya Coke na tuseme mtu kama Uhuru kushika chupa ya Coke. Akionekana ameshika chupa ya Coke, anafanya hiyo chupa ikuwe na higher perception. What is that? It's an energy that human beings carry internally. It can be explained both spiritually, inaweza ku-explain psychologically, inaweza ku-explain socially, but whether we know it or we don't, kuna mtoto akienda kucheza na watoto wengine atachapwa. Si ati amfanya kitu, watoto wataanza tu kumchapa. And you know now the problem is that many parents end up beating a child. Wanamwambia shida ni wewe. For example, every school I used to go to, I just used to attract extreme favor and extreme trouble. There is a school I went to for 3 weeks, nikachujwa. Like nilifika wiki ya kwanza, watu wakaanza kunita Mr. Fighting Injustice, juu nilikuwa napasha ma prefect, nikaenda funky 3 within 3 weeks. Na kuna mtu amekaa hiyo shule for 3 years, hajaenda funky. Kitu tu ameenda ni trip ya geography. So nika realize that in my life, I'm attracting both high levels of favor but also high levels of trouble. Nikiguza tu gari ingekosa accident, and ndaigongesha tu for some reason, gari yani haiwezi kuwa intact. So I began to also check my life. Are there parts that I need to work on? I discovered I would meet great people and lose access immediately. I meet someone once, tunakuwa mabeste, either atanisahau or sometimes they would wakitaka kunifanyia kitu tu ina happen. For example, I'm talking to a person, alafu atapigiwa tu simu hiyo saa, akwe distracted, na akienda na aniambie narudi, na aniambie talk to my assistant, we will continue the conversation. Ama msee aniambie tutaona vile tutafanya, but amebambika na wewe. I had to take time and intentionally question which parts of my life are misrepresented. And are there maybe actions zenye mindo nimedu zenye zina lead to this? Are there actions that are not about me? Because some of these things are also not about you. Zingine zinakuanga beyond you. Zingine ziko more generational, zingine ziko more family, zingine pia ni environment zenye umeka. Kuna patenye mindset yako inaweza contribute, kuna patenye exposure yako inaweza contribute, kuna patenye character yako inaweza contribute, but kuna mtu anaweza kuwa na hizo vitu zote. Have you ever seen someone has a degree, they have a masters, akona hizo vitu zote na amesota? It makes sense. You know, people in Kenya keep on talking about unemployment, but there is a level where it's not about unemployment. There is a level where unaweza pata mtu mwenye ajasoma sana but ako tu acceptable. You know, ako acceptable. Yes, but you know, na many people don't question. Umeenda ma interview kama 20 ama 30 na unaendelea kuenda bado. We must get to a place in life as a society where we begin to question, why is this happening? Because when something happened once, that's a coincidence. When something happens twice, that's an occurrence. When something happens thrice, that's a pattern. Yeah. So you don't ignore. You've dated people. There's a lady I know who people cancelled weddings with her 4 times. Men propose, ikaribia time ya wedding, they cancel without saying any reason. They disappear completely. So you don't question. Now people just continue with life. They say hapana, sini life. And now unfortunately, the things, some patterns, we've accepted them as culture.